Tech Talk, episode 17. Welcome to program number 1. I'm Andres, and on today's episode, I got no tech news that I want to talk about because nothing that I care about. But something I do care about a lot is responding to you, specifically Gabbers. In fact, this episode is Gab comments only on my Gab TV channel. And I'll get to that in a bit, but as is customary, this is my website, www.segovia.com, where you can see anything and everything that pertains to me, the shows that I do, where you can listen, where you can watch, things like that, including books that I've written. Yes, I've written books. But let me open my Dissenter browser and show you this is my Gab profile. Since I'm talking to Gabbers and responding to Gabbers, might as well keep it Gab themed. I think it's only fair, right? So this is my Gab profile. You can check out my stuff here. I do bring some of my Instagram stuff over that I can over to my Gab profile. So if you're subscribed to me on Gab TV, I encourage you to also check out my profile there. One of the ways that I enjoy using Gab, I showed this before, but this is how it's become my Twitter replacement for the most part, not exclusively, but for the most part, this right here, which would be the Gab deck, because I like keeping up with some news. So you can see I keep up with several sources here. I can't put more columns, unfortunately, but I chose to keep these up here and follow other ones elsewhere on the attempts to not use Twitter. But this is what I want to talk about. Gab TV. I signed up for this March 31st, that's what it shows. And since then, I have a lot of engagement on my episodes. I think I hit 115 subscribers on my channel here, but hundreds of views per video, which is humbling. Thank you so very much. And comments that I need to respond to. So I needed to come up with a cutoff. I think, oh wait, right here. I picked this one just over a month ago, reacting to Amazon Astro, or Skynet as I called it, with the Amazon making that announcement. So I use that as my cutoff to respond to comments, just because there's only so many I can respond to. And everything else before that, I'm sorry if I didn't get to you. I have to use a measuring stick somewhere. So I will get to that. But I also want to mention that, yes, I do tend to respond to comments using iOS, Android, sometimes even the browser. They don't always go through, which is unfortunate. I did see that 2 of my comments did remain, but some other ones just disappeared for some reason, or it says compose fail at the bottom on the left of the screen. This is Gab TV is a much newer platform compared to the other video platforms that I'm on. So of course there are some growing pains, but hey, sticking through it. That's why I'm doing this, taking some time to respond to those that have taken time to watch my content. So I'm going to be going over these comments here, starting off with that older video I was telling you about. So let's get to it, shall we? There's some there's some usernames here that are anonymous, and some that I might not be able to pronounce. So forgive me ahead of time for butchering your username. But this one should be okay. Thomas Ballard. Okay, this one's to my Amazon Astro. It says, my reaction would be to shoot to kill this monstrosity. Well, yeah, that's what you got a moving target with that screen, right? Who hasn't wanted to puncture a screen? Now you just get to do it when you have this AI bot coming at you. It's like, nope. Nah, this show ain't no good. Okay, next one up. My short sale nightmare transaction. My short sale transaction nightmare. This one's an anthology series told in 3 parts. And this username Rabbit actually did comment on all 3 of those. So I'm going in the order of the comments received. So I'm going to do that and just proceed on with the videos. So I'm going over this one right now. Rabbit is responding to my anthology series. So this, I guess, some little context so you'll get an idea of what he's reacting to. Or I'm assuming Rabbit's a he. Rabbit responds to the first part of the video, or the first part of the story. Why the F? I'm censoring myself because I don't use these kind of words, but this is in the comments. Why the F would the seller make new rental leases for property they know the renters will have to be evicted? There should be a law against this deceptive spit. The whole real estate game is to F the unaware out of their money. It does not surprise me why people get shot, stabbed, killed, and their family and children as well. People who F with others' well-being, causing them emotional and economic stability, deserve to die. Pretty strong reaction. And if you listen to the episode, you'll find out why the strong reaction, perhaps. Okay, next one over was skip this video over to this one. So you notice how some of these thumbnails are different. The white ones tend to be what I call off the record. So that would under that umbrella, I put what is called the Critic Corner, Central Corner, and it's sometimes the Tech Corner, but mostly what I call off the record, where I address current events and other stuff like that, where it's not considered entertainment, but it could be entertaining. But there's movies and soundtracks that I talk about, some that I brought exclusively over to Gab just to test the field, to see how people react to it. For the most part, people have positive reactions to most of this, so I appreciate that. So to one of these reactions, which was I showed the Batman trailer and my reaction to that, Joseph M. Leonard says, "Really? What, the 10th million Batman reboot? No thanks. There are now more and more smaller independent studios putting out content far more worthy of my dollars." Well, Joseph, yes, because everything that's gone woke sucks. For those of us that are actually fans of the source material, there have been different interpretations of the character, and the character interpretation of this, which was supposed to be the Ben Affleck one, is something that I actually did want to see, but then they scrapped that when Ben had to walk away from the project, and when they brought on Robert Pattinson, I wasn't sure what they were going to try to do with him besides, like more of an origin thing, but what I did enjoy is the theme that they wanted to go after. The problem is I don't have high expectations for the final product because of just how much has changed with the studios, and Matt Reeves, even though I like some of his work, is still connected in some way somehow to Jar Jar Abrams, or J.J. Abrams. For those of you that are familiar with Nerdrotic, you might understand that expression. You could check out my reaction for my entirety of my look. Okay, next one over was this one. Thank you, President Trump. So this is one of those videos I was talking about where it's off the record. This one I actually posted across my platforms back on January 20th. And in this one, I tell basically how I went from not supporting Trump to becoming a Trump supporter, and enthusiastically voted for him November 2020. And would do so again if he runs, with some conditions though. But he's got my support definitely. And this Joseph M. Leonard, who just responded to my previous video, makes this comment here. Okay, let's talk impeach 46. The likelihood that Biden would be actually removed from office by the United States Senate is next to none, just as it was with the impeachment farces that the left did with Trump. And frankly, I'm good with that, as I sure as hell don't want President on her knees Kamala. But this is not the Trump situation. There are several impeachable offenses here, or if we go by fascist standards, we can just do it because we want to. I actually agree. Yes, Kamala is probably worse, which is why the Democrats continue playing Weekend at Bernie's with Biden, because nobody likes Kamala. I mean, she dropped out of the primary here in the Democratic People's Republic of California, and she dropped out because she was just polling so bad and wanted to save some kind of face for whatever that was worth, because nobody likes you. Anyway, proceeding on. So this next one, episode 15, I skip Tech Talk, and I go to my short sale number part 2, where Rabbit chimes in again with this comment. That seller. Yeah, the seller was quite an interesting piece of work here. That seller is a divisive POS, probably parading around as one of those greedy Jesus-mocking Christians hiding in a pretentious church. I hope that seller has lost everything. Job, home, business, and in dire straits. From your description of this demonic person, I hope your client currently has COVID and dying. I should start a business to help tenants deal with harsh spirit-killing landlords. I did not condone or wish ill on people, so I have. But Rabbit is really coming across strong, and if you listen to the episode, you'll probably find out why. All right, next one over. This is from the vaults of the Critic Corner. Something that I've described before, and I'll save it for some other time, just because I don't want to make this video too long, because I have more comments to go over. Who watches The Watchmen? In situ? I can't pronounce this one properly. Maybe I did it right. I don't know. Whatever. So, response to Who Watches The Watchmen? I love the movie, but not to the extent that I want to hear the soundtrack drowning out your audio track. Yes, I'm not proud of the sound mixing on this one, and I had to make a editor's choice here when I couldn't save the audio to post it. So for that one, that is the final product, unfortunately, from the archives. And if I could fix it, I would. But I needed to put it out the door. I did enjoy that one, and I thank you for putting up with I guess less than stellar sound mixing on that one. Philip Glass's music can be overbearing with his ostinatos repeating over and over again, but yeah, I thank you for enduring it. Okay, next one over. No one commented on that one per Gab, so let me go to the part 3 of my show. So Nightmare where once again Rabbit chimes in, and this is the catharsis of and conclusion of the entirety of that saga. Rabbit says, I wouldn't have given the seller that payoff certificate unless I was required by law to do so. What an unappreciative, greedy bastard the seller is. No wonder the seller's going bankrupt. You are a good person. Seems the buyer saw that. Also, seems the bank knows what the seller is trying to get away with. Ever feel like you've been tested? Oh, yeah. Because that transaction prepared me for all the other obstacles that I came through, and now everything else was cake after this. The buyer sounded like they were on the look for an honest acquisition expert. Thanks for sharing your experience right in this particular way. Rabbit, thank you so much for listening to my anthology series. That's 1.5 hours worth of storytelling there, so I really appreciate you checking that out. All right, next episode over, another Critic Corner thing where I discuss John Wick 3 and the ageless Keanu Reeves with a friend. And the Flummoxed Penguin says, with you, was hoping for just a trilogy. If age is an issue, please just end it. No handoffs. Yeah, we were talking about how John Wick 3 went a little longer than it should have, and probably should have ended there. But Lionsgate needs they need another franchise because there are a lot of ideas with the Saw franchise, and they flamed out with what's that one, Allegiance, whatever the heck that is, and of course, was Hunger Games theirs? I think it was, and that was a relic of things past, and that flamed out too. Okay. And now on to this one. Thank you so much, everyone, for making this one of my highest viewed hits so far. The real reason single-family zoning was banned in California. That's great. The comments, however, are mixed. So Anonymous, because there's no username tied to this, was responding to why California eliminated single-family zoning. So what that means basically is that no more building of single-family homes as of January 2022, and existing family zoning is now legally allowed to bulldoze their single-family home and put up to 4 units on that lot, if permissible by the local ordinances. So all that's to say, suburbs are done for. They want projects and things like that. Well, and there you go. So Anonymous says, because you can shove more plebs into high-rise apartments. Yes. Feet to fire. Yeah, I remember this one. Your videos are very annoying to listen to. You have a peculiar way of speaking, and your voice rises and falls constantly, and it's just too aggravating to listen to. So that's 2 criticisms there. You should also stop playing the music at the start of the video when you start speaking. That's 3, because it's impossible to decipher what you're saying, and thus is also annoying. As for the mess in California housing, it is obvious that the master plan is to try to herd citizens into high-rise apartment buildings, tenements, because all those illegal aliens need to be put somewhere. Californians are also being screwed with these newcomer aliens and the insufferable high property taxes, and soon their property value will plummet. Because of all this mismanagement by idiots in Sacramento and housing investors who are monkeying around with the housing market. All very, very disturbing, and videos like this one do nothing to help the situation. Sad emoticon. Well, Peter Fire, I'm sorry you don't like my podcast style, but I thank you for tuning in. Okay, next one over. Also to the same video, I Am Hebrew says, love the show. Thank you for tuning in. Next video over. Now I got my dog barking in the background. What's going on? Love the show. Yeah, okay. Next video, don't buy the Microsoft Surface Duo. That's this one here. Alrighty. My video is like running 50-50 almost between likes and dislikes on YouTube, which is pretty hilarious. Like, who's defending Microsoft's customer service? Like that's what I truly wonder. Is like, who the hell is thinking I'm criticizing the device itself when I'm lashing out against the customer service on it? Whatever. All right, this one. Don't buy the Microsoft Surface Duo from Anonymous. There's no username on this one. Edward Snowden explains why to avoid monoculture as a consumer. If fake search engines pretend Mac, Windows, and Ubuntu are your OS options, it provides indirect reason to choose Arch Linux. Put in Arch Linux based distro on that puppy and fall back in love, smiley face. I use Grand Linux and corruption is a cat and mouse game, so I can't pretend that it will always be the best option or even is, but the AUR is where it's at. It's a free speech channel for open source code to transparently protect the user from being the product. A machine running Microsoft belongs to nosy Microsoft. The countless supporting evidence to this claim is not on the clear web, and while the burden of proof of this claim lies on me, I promise the truth is disgusting. I thought I had a creepy router and network components while I had a machine with Microsoft. Everything fixed itself when I disposed of the trash with a different OS. Okay. This actually reminds me that every year on my channel, I tend to do what is called my daily tech, the stuff that basically got me through the year. I have not had such a seismic shift in my mobile carry as it has been this year. Huge shift. And the behavior and how I conduct myself with these various items and how I do it, I'm going to inform you when I do those videos. It might be in 2 parts, I don't know yet. But when the time comes, I'll show you, because if you're fans of Rob Braxman, then you'll see some similarities in the way I practice things, in the way I conduct myself, while also operating businesses, which is different. Because as a consumer, as an individual, it's just you. Then of course, people with Linux, Ubuntu, or want to do a Linux phone or a Pine phone and things like that, it makes sense for them. If you're just a person and not having to actually run operations and things like I do. And because of I need things that connect me to my clients, that connect me to my tenants, that connect me to my vendors and such, that it can streamline things. So yes, I have to use the tools that are available at my disposal, and tech makes that much more convenient for me to be able to do what I do while also doing content creation on YouTube. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Back to the last comment on this don't buy the Microsoft Surface Duo. Nunya, I'm assuming that's short for Nunya Business. Nunya says, we once had to decommission a Surface Pro years ago. Horrible, horrible PC, do not buy one. Why? It's designed to fail and explode. They've had the heat exhaust blowing over the battery, which eventually caused it to overheat and swell up so much it popped the case open. Yikes. Just getting to the hard drive to destroy it, finance client, involved pretty much destroying the entire thing. We've had great luck with Lenovo laptops in the past. We just slap a custom debloated Windows 10 Pro install on them and they work. My Lenovo Legion 5 at home runs Windows 10 Pro on 1 terabyte NVMe drive, and Pop! OS Linux on a separate 1 terabyte NVMe drive. I got several old Lenovo ThinkPads as well, and all of them run just fine with no issues. And if I did have an issue, one phone call to the support center in Atlanta, Georgia, usually has them shipping out a replacement part overnight. Now, I did the same, and I do the same, which is why I'm inspired to talk a little bit more about not just my mobile carriers for my daily drivers, but also what I use, like my custom computer that I'm using now. All right, last couple of comments, and this one comes from my last Tech Talk episode 16, which I compare algorithm, like YouTube's behavior and how I've been feeding my episodes compared to like places like here, particularly Gab, where it's decentralized. So thank you for those of you that have watched. Rabbit, 4th comment. Thank you, Rabbit. Can you dig it? And cool smiley, cool emoticon. I dig it. Okay, Michael Williams, last comment. Glad I found you. Good work. Thank you so very much for those of you that checked out my stuff, that's put up with maybe some audio inconsistencies and things like that, or maybe even a topic that you weren't interested in but decided to give me a chance because what's he got to say about that? Maybe I'll talk about this and you guys can weigh in the comments if you want to hear it. I had my misgivings about Gab. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. It's just the truth. I actually, because of all the stigma that's been put on Gab before I even jumped on it, I was hesitant, and I wasn't sure I wanted to bring my show to Gab TV when it was finally launched. But I'm like, we have similar goals, and they claim to be for freedom of speech and all this and that. So eventually I had to put my show on here. And recently what I felt has been, I guess, it's something that I did with my original show. And this is how I'll close it off with this conclusion. And if you watched this far, thank you, because I don't know how long this has been. But when I did the Andres Segovia show, I did it from 2003 to 2009. And then I retired that, and I did what's called the newsreel, because I couldn't do opinionated commentary on politics. So I was just highlighting news. Like most people would retweet, I actually wrote the news, and that stuff is still available. I was a blogger, so that stuff's still available. And so my show existed as a newsletter, which is technically what my book is. It's a collection of what that was back then. And what I enjoyed about it wasn't just a newsletter. It was an engagement with audience members, where people would ask me questions and I would respond to that, or because I enjoyed the questions so much that I was inspired to do a whole piece just on that and give shout outs. So I did enjoy that. And when eventually I came about, and because I couldn't do that anymore, along with the Critic Corner at the same time, movie reviews and things like that, I missed that hobby, but I never stopped wanting. That passion always burned within me to continue covering the news, to continue giving insight, to continue to try to inform people, particularly a lot of people in my social circle and familial circle, because of where I live and what the school system has done to a lot of them. You know, a lot of them see me as extreme just because I'm impassioned about my points of views. And this year, I've added new names to my repertoire I never heard before. I've been called a soy boy, liberal, and things like that. Why? Just because I opposed the Freedom Phone? I called it a scam for what it was. You know, it's like, dude, you can be opposed to things that happen on your own side too. You know, that's what's a clear-minded person does. But apparently, if I'm not rank and file with whatever the order of the day is, then I'm going against the grain, and I must be from the other side. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked on the Freedom Phone, or else I'm going to go on a rant again, because I could still talk about that crap. So having said that, when I brought my show back as the Andres Segovia show, it was meant to be as a way to market my real estate services, which it was. So that's what my early episodes tend to be, more on the lines of more real estate business focused things, and educating people how to either become buyers or sellers, how to sell their first time selling, and all these different things. And when a lot of stuff that happens in California affects real estate, so it affects tenants, it affects their rent, it affects property owners, it affects their taxes, and so on and so forth. I needed to cover that because I'm informing my clientele. And of course, because with that, people construe it as political, because I'm teetering on policies and I'm talking about how to vote on a proposition, or don't support this individual because of that. It's like, well, they're after your property. What do you want me to say? It's in my interest to help you. And then I'm finding out that my union dues were paying for the political action committee, even though I said don't do that. And this whole recall effort with Gavin Newsom was really the straw that broke the camel's back with me, because like, how did my association become the number one union a few weeks before the election that supported Gavin Newsom? What the hell? And I was doing my effort to say yes on the recall, and having to organize groups to that effect. It really felt like not only was I canceled out, that everything that I did was meaningless because of what my own association did. But that didn't stop me from doing what I do. That's why people started seeing the kind of a shift in my show, and I kind of felt it too, where it's like, I have to keep addressing these things, because how can I tell individuals to buy if eventually they are priced out or they're not able to buy? And I did talk about that in a previous episode that I did. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that the engagement that I had back then, I was able to have it again with Facebook page. And so my show was on Facebook, and I engaged with people, particularly debating those very things, such as rent control before it became statewide, where I was arguing rent versus buy. What does it mean to buy right now with a low interest rate versus waiting for the prices to drop with a higher interest rate, and things like that. And there were a lot of very passionate debate and discussions with respect, mostly with rent control, because of course tenants were the ones that were tuning in the most. And there was respectful dialogue, and eventually some of them saw reason and understood what I was getting out to them. And I did it en español también, porque mi comunidad es hispana. And when I did that, I was able to win some people over. Obviously, made some people were turned away because like, not with Andres, he's too biased. All because I want the better for everybody. And that all went out the window when I canceled everything Facebook. I closed so many business pages from different businesses, and of course my show, and I lost that engagement. YouTube has engagement. Oh, it's my biggest audience, and most of the engagement tends to happen on my tech stuff because the people are curious. How are you using it? What are you doing? What do you recommend? Is it working out? And long-term stuff. And I appreciate that. BlackBerry, Microsoft, things like that. It's fun. I like talking about that. It's a different perspective than other influencers do. But when it comes to the stuff that was the main purpose of my show, with business, real estate, property, and property management, private property, and things like that, where our rights begin, and the assault from the state to take our property away, I wasn't getting engagement on that other than insults, beratements, and eventually YouTube shadow banning and throttling and age restricting certain episodes of these things just because I'm talking about financial stuff. Like, man, I must say, a lot of you on Gab have made me feel like it's that again, that kind of engagement, a new community that appreciates what I do, or maybe not, because apparently I'm annoying someone, at least a few. And there's others that call me a grifter for XYZ reason, just because trolls will be trolls. So I cannot stop people from doing what they do. I can only be me. And I'm going to continue being me. I don't lose sleep over this. I had to grow thick skin. I've been assaulted, both physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. My car's been vandalized. I've been attacked. My family threatened. I live in California, man. I've been called a sellout by my groups, and that's a conversation I actually hope to have with someone. We're working on a schedule on a collaboration that we're doing, and I have other collabs that I'm also scheduling, so stay tuned for that as well. But it's all to say that I appreciate those of you that have checked out my stuff, and I would encourage you to also follow me on the social side of Gab, as I would like to engage with you more. It's not just a video thing. I like to share my thoughts with you. I am a little spread out where, yes, I'm still on Parler. I'm on Getter, just because across the three, I'm able to follow almost every account that I used to follow on Twitter. Anything to keep me from going to Twitter. So those three is where I'm across. But Gab has the extra in which I'm able to do this and either entertain you, inform you, or annoy you on my channel. And I'm very appreciative to those of you that have watched, including this video that did this long, so I'm just pouring my heart out now. So yeah, thank you for that. And well, I guess here's cheers to you. And that does it for this episode of Tech Talk. Stay tuned for the next one. Wherever you're watching, however you're watching, I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.